Rebalancing of assets, it's a very important step in asset allocation, and rebalancing involves two things. One, having a properly written down plan. If you do not have a properly written down plan, rebalancing is very difficult. So suppose you have a properly written down plan with assets allocated to various asset classes. We'll look at what are the possibilities. Then only and only then can you think of rebalancing, because otherwise it becomes a complete exercise in speculation. I think this has gone up too much, I should sell. I think this has gone down too much, I should buy. That kind of a thing doesn't happen. You have to have a proper plan, and let us assume for a minute that you are wanting to do it. Remember, there is no one perfect method of doing it. It's not a science, it's not physics that or mathematics that 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. There are various methods of doing it, some right, some wrong, some dramatically wrong, and some very good, well established, successfully run by many people over long periods of time. How to do it we will do separately, but at least you should understand what is asset rebalancing. Now what happens is, suppose you are 50-50 in debt and equity, and the equity markets have gone up dramatically. So so you were 1:1, the equity markets have doubled or gone up dramatically. You have not rebalanced to 75-25. What happens when you don't have a written down plan is you start rationalizing. You say, oh, the Prime Minister is going to do this. You say the world is going to recover post COVID and therefore the market is up. So I think 75-25 is okay. This is wrong asset allocation. You first thought that you should be 50-50. You made your plan, you did not write it down, you just thought that it is good. Now that it has gone up, you don't want to sell equities. This is a classic case of thinking that your risk tolerance has gone up in a bull market, right? That's what has happened. This looks very great, smart when that 75 becomes 76 and 77, but when there is a dramatic fall in equity, and it comes back to say 40% of your total portfolio. The crash has been so much that all the gains have wiped out, and from your original also you have lost something, and now you are 40% in equity and 60% in debt because of the fall in equity. You regret and say, oh my God, I should have rebalanced, right? So rebalancing has to start with making a brilliant asset allocation plan, and then choosing whether you want to do the rebalancing on a monthly basis, quarterly basis, annual basis. I have done a video saying it doesn't really matter whether you do it on a frequent basis or less frequent basis. Maybe you do it once in 3 years or 5 years, or on happening of certain events, some parameters. If equity goes above 57%, I will reallocate. Some rules and regulations. Please make those rules and regulations. So I was just seeing the portfolio of a good friend of mine, and I thought it's a good example to show you what he has done. So first of all, the reason to do a portfolio rebalancing is just to bring your portfolio to be in sync with your asset allocation plan that you had thought of. If you think that you should be more in equity, be my guest. I am perfectly all right with that. But there has to be application of mind, and it cannot be that from last year to this year, or say from 3 years ago to this year, your risk-taking capacity has gone up. Perfectly possible. You sold some real estate, you have more money, and you want to now feel that you can take more risk. Like this person who has invested. I'll just read out his portfolio to you. He's only 30% in domestic Indian equities, right? 10% in foreign equities, 10% in emerging equities, 10% in small cap equities within India and abroad. So therefore I'm unable to break that up much. REITs. He's got 5% in REITs, he's got corporate bonds, he's got index-linked bonds, he's got fixed income government bonds, which is gilts, and he has cash. And cash is held in a single currency, which is rupees. He is not diversified across currencies. But the assets itself, about 25-30% is in foreign currency.